Mormonism Disproven in 3 minutes. If Mormonism is true, then its founding revelations must be credible, its added scriptures must be trustworthy, and its gospel must agree with what Christ and the apostles already delivered. If those pillars fail, the system fails with them. That is why Christians reject Mormonism. The LDS Church teaches that after the apostles, many important aspects of Jesus Christ's gospel were lost, calling that era the Great Apostasy, and that its movement is the restoration. First, Mormonism begins by claiming the church Christ built was lost from the earth. That is the foundation of the whole system. But Jesus said, "I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Mormonism only works if Christ failed to preserve his church until Joseph Smith arrived in the 1800s. Historic Christianity says the opposite. Christ kept his promise. If the church was completely gone, then Christ's own words collapse. The LDS Church itself explicitly teaches that the true church no longer existed on the earth until the restoration. Second, Joseph Smith's first vision is presented as the event that launched the restoration. Yet even the LDS Church acknowledges that he left multiple accounts of it, 4 first-hand accounts plus accounts from contemporaries. The church says these accounts are consistent, though they differ in emphasis and detail. But that is exactly the problem. The founding revelation of Mormonism is not preserved in one clear, stable form. The church admits the earliest account was unpublished for years, and that later accounts became the best-known version. When the entire religion rests on one man's private vision, shifting descriptions are a serious credibility issue. Third, the Book of Abraham creates one of the biggest historical problems for Mormonism. The LDS Church openly states that the book originated with Egyptian papyri that Joseph Smith translated beginning in 1835. It also admits that only fragments of those papyri survive today, and that no eyewitness account of the translation survives, making it impossible to reconstruct the process. That admission is devastating because the text is still treated as scripture. Christians don't need to prove every detail of the dispute to see the problem. When a religion ties divine authority to a translation claim that is historically murky, even by its own official explanation, that is not strong evidence. It's a red flag. Fifth, Mormonism's doctrine of God departs radically from biblical Christianity. Britannica summarizes LDS belief by noting that faithful members may ultimately become gods themselves. That is not the biblical distinction between creator and creation. Christianity teaches one eternal God. Mormonism opens the door to exalted humans becoming gods. That is not a minor denominational difference. That is another God, another system, and another gospel. So here's the case in 4 minutes. Mormonism says Christ's church failed, rests on Joseph Smith's contested visionary claims, adds extra scripture as a new witness, and defends doctrines and translation claims that are historically and theologically unstable. That is why Christians do not see Mormonism as a restored form of Christianity, but as a later religious system built on broken foundations.